This is a 1965 Shelby GT350R. The R means racing, as this is prepped in full competition spec. There's something else special about this car though, and that's the fact that it was prepped this way in 2018. What you're looking at is the closest thing out there to a brand new 1965 Shelby GT350 Mustang. It's from a company called OVC, and that stands for Original Venice Crew. The name makes sense given that the main group of folks in charge comprised the original Shelby crew when Carroll and Company were cranking out cars in a small shop in Venice, California. So the car here started life as a standard K-Code Mustang from 1965. It still has a 65 Mustang VIN, which means it's easier to register and it should be street legal wherever you want to drive it. OVC sources the cars, cleans them up as much as they need it, and then set to work on turning them into GT350Rs. The 289 has been reworked so it's making 450 horsepower, which is up over the original 306 you'd find in a street Shelby back in the day. That's plenty of oomph for a 2,800-pound vintage racer that's devoid of modern driving aids. There's no power steering. This cabin is your gym, and this thin-rimmed wooden steering wheel and 4-speed shift lever are your tools. The OVC Mustang wants you to grab a hold of those tools and go like hell. Fire up the engine, slot the tall shifter into first, and the initial moment you pull away is surprisingly drama-free. That's thanks to the easy-to-modulate Ford Performance clutch being used. After that brief moment of relief, however, comes all of the drama you expect. The engine is amazingly loud and it sings the best song. V8s always sound the best, especially older ones that have been allowed to breathe easy. You have to chuck the car into a corner, which feels wrong to do to something so properly aged. However, this car hides a secret out back. This is the GT350 that Shelby would have built had they been given a bit more time to tinker. Back in the day, Ford allowed Shelby to test a prototype independent rear suspension setup. Ford eventually said screw it due to increased complexity and cost on a car that was already selling well. Had that suspension been allowed to move into production, it would have made the GT350 that much better. And this car wears an IRS. The result is amazing. As you enter a corner, the car rolls just a bit onto its tires and as far as stabilizer bars want it to go. Then it grabs and you can get on the throttle far earlier than if this were a solid axle car. Turn in, clip apex, and drive away with a dash of opposite lock if you're feeling brave. The OVC Mustang rewards aggression with all sensational sounds and sights. As you can imagine, a car like this doesn't come cheap. OVC are building just 36 examples. Each one starts at $250,000. That's a tall number for an old Mustang, but the going rate on original GT350Rs is inching closer to 7 figures. Additionally, this one drives better and it's assembled by the same people who put together the cars back in 1965. Furthermore, OVC just got one of its cars approved by the FIA for vintage racing in Europe. That's an incredibly tall task for any automaker, never mind a continuation car. If you have $250,000 to spend on a car, you could buy an exotic, or you could buy history, heritage, and one hell of an amazing experience.